Welcome everyone. Here we'll move on to the next family, that is the Liliaceae family. So this is the last family we'll be dealing with. We have already studied Solanaceae family, Fabaceae family. Now we'll move on to the last one which is there in our textbook, that is the Liliaceae family. This family is commonly called as here Lily family. This Liliaceae family, it is commonly called as Lily family, and in this family we have the monocotyledonous plants. There in this Fabaceae family, in Solanaceae family, we are having this in Fabaceae family dicotyledonous plants were there here, whereas in this Lily family or Liliaceae family we have monocotyledonous plants. We have monocotyledonous plants, and here this family consists of 4075 species. This family consists of 4075 species with 24 genera. 4075 species with 254 genera. Lily family, it belongs to monocotyledonous plants. The plants which will be having, that is only one cotyledon. Now let us see what are the common members which we see in this family. Here the common members, this is Allium cepa, commonly called as onion. The scientific name of onion is Allium cepa. Then we have Allium sativum, that is garlic, which we commonly call as garlic. Garlic is Allium sativum, onion is Allium cepa. Then we have this aloe vera. It is commonly called as aloe plant or aloe vera. We call it with the same name, aloe vera. Almost in every homes we see this plant. Then we have Asparagus racemosus. So this is the common name for that is scientific name for asparagus. Commonly it is called as asparagus. The scientific name is Asparagus racemosus. Then we have Colchicum autumnale, commonly called as meadow saffron. And here Dracena augustifolia, that is red dragon, it is commonly called as Gloriosa superba, glory lily. We call it as commonly call it as glory lily. And here then we have Lilium candidum, that is lily one, Smilax zealanxia. And we have this Yucca gloriosa, that is Spanish dagger, which is commonly called as. So these are the common members of this family which belongs to this family with the scientific names and the common names. This is Lily family, and the economic importance of this family. Here in this, the economic importance of this family, that is what we get from it. We get ornaments. This lily, tulips, gloriosa, lily, tulip, gloriosa, asparagus. These plants are used as ornaments. They are ornamental plants. Okay, they are ornamental plants, decorative plants. We use these plants for decorative purposes in this weddings and all. We use those plants for decorative purposes. So here we have this ornamental value from the plants, and we also get medicines from this plant. Medicines from this plant, that is aloe vera. Aloe vera plant gives us medicine. Smilax, from the smilax we get medicine, and from this gloriosa. These are the plants which gives us medicines. These are the plants which gives us ornaments. They are some other plants are there which gives us medicine. And here vegetables, this onion is there, asparagus is there. Here these act as, that is we eat them as vegetables. And we have this spice, this garlic, Allium sativum. It is used as garlic spice. Then colchin, this one, Colchicum autumnale. So it is used to produce a substance, that is chemical called as colchine. So these are the various uses which we get from this family. So we get ornaments, we get medicines, we get vegetables, we get spices, we get this chemical substances. So these are the various economic importance of this family. Okay. So mostly Lily family, here most of the plants are ornamental plants which is used for decorative purposes. Some gives us medicines, aloe vera. It is best treatment for this acne, scars, like wound healing. For that is when we have wound, you just put this aloe plant, that is aloe leaf, or this the pulp of this aloe leaf, the wound will be gone. It is good for the skin. It is good for many purposes. Aloe vera has many medicinal values. That is, it treats many wounds, many infections, many diseases will be treated by this. So it is used as in medicine. And here vegetables, all we have seen, and spices. So these are the various economic importance or economic uses of this family. Now moving on to the vegetative characters. Let us describe this family. In this vegetative characters, here in habitat, that is, they are mostly found everywhere. Some of the plants are mesophytes, which lives in the place where water is available, mesophytes. Then there are xerophytes, that is, there are certain plants which lives in desert conditions also, like aloe vera. It can survive desert conditions, it can live in arid temperatures, hot temperatures. So here these in this, that is, the plants are distributed worldwide in every part. Here some of the plants are mesophytes, that is, if we see habitat, okay, some of them are mesophytes, some, that is lily, some of them are xerophytes, examples, that is, they live in deserts, that is aloe plant. So for habitat, that is, they are distributed all over the world. And what type of plant they are, what habit they have, some are, that is, perennials, they live for many years. Some are herbs, underground stem also they have, that is, some, in some plants the stems are underground. Here some are shrubs, some plants of this family, some members of this family are shrubs. And here arborescent, arborescent means tree-like. We have also plants which are tree-like. We have herbs, we have shrubs, we have underground stems, then we have tree-like plants also are also there, and we have climbers as well. So in this also we find a wide variety of plants. Some of them are herbs, some of them are shrubs, some of them are arborescent, that is tree-like plants, and some of them are climbers. They are weak-stemmed ones, so they are climbers. They climb to a height with the help of that is certain support. So coming to this root system. Root system is adventitious root system. In both this Liliaceae family, in both this Fabaceae and Solanaceae, the root system was taproot system. Here in this Liliaceae family, the root system is adventitious root system. So it belongs to monocot. Monocotyledonous plants are there in this family, and monocots show that is adventitious fibrous root system. Okay, so here the root system is adventitious root system, and here the roots in this, now some example, that is fasciculated tuberous roots. Here onion is a bulb, it is an underground stem. The roots, underground stem is storing the food material. In asparagus, roots are storing the food materials. So here, so this is the fasciculated tuberous roots in asparagus. It is the roots are food storing roots. The roots store food materials, and mostly in all the plants adventitious root system is there. And in asparagus we find fasciculated tuberous roots. Fasciculated tuberous roots, that is, these roots are swollen because of the that is storage of food material. In asparagus the roots are swollen because of the storage of food material. Okay. So here now coming to the stem. Root system is adventitious, and in special, that is asparagus, we find fasciculated tuberous roots. Then coming to the stem is, in some plants the stem is underground. The stem is underground. The stem is not that is aerial. The stem is underground, below the ground. Like here in bulb, this one, onion, it is underground. This corm, asparagus, this rhizome, this garlic, all these are underground. These are the underground stems. Okay, and there are certain stems which are aerial as well. Some stems are there which are underground. Some stems are there which are underground. That is, few members show underground stem, like this onion, garlic, asparagus. they grow underground stem, they have underground stem. Then some will be having aerial stem, that is the stem will be above the ground. Some species or some members of this Liliaceae family, they have aerial stem, and here some will have weak stems. Some will have weak stems, that is they will not be able to stand erect by themselves. So those are, that is tendrils and timbers are there. So with the help of the support they will crawl. They'll move to a certain height with the help of this, taking the support by the wall or some substructure. So tendrils, with the help of the tendrils they will be climbing or crawling. And here branches are modified into cladophylls. We said here this, that is members of these plants, they are mesophytic in habitat as well as xerophytic, that is they can live in the desert areas also, in very hot temperatures also. So to avoid this, because if they are living in very hot temperatures now, then they should have that such mechanism that they should avoid transpiration, because already water will be very less in the desert areas. Water, there will be water scarcity. So whatever water is there, they have to store it. So in order to store the water, in order to prevent the transpiration, here the branches are modified into leaf-like structures. Instead of branches, leaf-like structures will be there, needle leaf-like structures. Those are called as cladophylls. Okay, so now coming to this leaves, here mostly radical leaves. Radical leaves in the sense the leaves which arises from the base of the stem. The leaves which arises from the base of the stem. For example, if this is the underground stem, this is the garlic, the underground stem. Here the leaves will be arising from this underground stem. So such leaves are called as radical leaf. In some plants it forms a rosette-like structure. The leaves which come out from the underground stem, they form a rosette-like structure as well. And the leaves are corline. The leaves are corline. In first two families we have seen that the leaves are having pedicels. Sorry, not pedicels, the leaves were having petioles. The leaves were having petioles. Okay, this is the branch, the leaf, this is the leaf. Leaf is attached to this branch with the help of this stalk-like structure called as petioles. But here this petiole will not be present. So that is why the leaves are corline, without petioles. Without petioles. So leaves are radical. They arises from the base of the stem or from the underground stem, and the leaves are corline, that is without petioles. They will be directly attached. Instead of this one, if this is the stem, the leaf will be directly attached to the stem or the branches. There won't be any petiole. Okay, the arrangement is that is the leaves are simple leaves. The leaves are simple leaves, and the venation here is parallel venation. Here one of the characteristic of monocots is monocots show parallel venation. Okay, monocot shows adventitious root and parallel venation. So when we are writing about Liliaceae family, it is all about monocotyledonous plant. So when monocotyledonous plants are there, then the venation in the leaves will be parallel. Venation in the leaves will be parallel. Okay, so here this is, and the leaves are exstipulate, that is stipules are not present. Small leaf-like structures are not present at the base of the leaves, because petiole is only not present. Base of the petiole does not have any small leaves. So exstipulate, no stipules will be present, and almost all the leaves are, the arrangement of the leaf is alternate. If this is like this, if this is one leaf, then this will be another leaf. Without petioles, alternate leaves. Okay, and the venation is parallel. Venation is parallel. This is this, if the venation is parallel. And in one plant, that is smilax, here in this plant, it shows reticulate venation. All the plants show parallel venation. Exception is seen in smilax. In smilax, the reticulate venation is seen. So with this we have finished this economic importance and vegetative characters of this family. In the next class, we will take up the floral characters as well as floral diagram.